Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. I'm Dylan. Joining me, as always, is Cam and Ben. And this week, we're throwing it all the way back to 2003 with Kill Bill Volume 1. To kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to go to this week's cocktail. Ben, what do you got for us?
Oh, Dylan, we're getting super inventive this week. This week's cocktail is called, wait for it, the Kill Bill. Oh, what? So it's basically just 3 ingredients: 3/4 of an ounce of vodka, 2 ounces of ginger ale, ½ ounce of lychee liqueur. Pour them all into a glass with some ice. Give it a quick stir, and you're ready to go. This is a good drink. It's sweet, but not too sweet. The ginger ale comes through without being really heavy. I'm not a big ginger or ginger ale person, so the fact that I enjoy it is good. Means that the ginger's not super strong in it. So, it's a quick cocktail, pretty easy. If you want to garnish it, go ahead and throw maybe some sprigs of mint in there, make it look pretty, or don't, and just be a basic bitch like me.
Check the show notes below. Make yourself a Kill Bill. We're original with our cocktail title names. And head up the Casker links to get yourself some lychee liqueur. Check out Kill Bill Volume 1 on Prime Video, and I think Volume 2 is on there as well. I don't know why they would not have both. That would be kind of psychotic.
2 is on there.
They do. And they also have, if you've got the time and want to do it in one shot, I think they have them both, like, in a one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think they've
That's
got them
kinda
both,
cool.
like, combined in one that you can just watch.
Well, I believe from what I've read, that was his original plan, was to do it all the way through, and then it was he who must not be named, Harvey Weinstein, from Miramax, who at the time was like telling people to cut down their movie times, and so he was like, well, why don't you just split it into 2 movies? So then that's how we...
This was back before the day and age of, like, the 6-hour movie that people were willing to sit through.
I feel like it was also before the time where movies did parts as well.
Also, Harvey Weinstein's a dirtbag and probably was like, hey, if you cut this into 2 movies, I can sell it to theaters twice and make more money.
We can make more money.
And then use that money to put myself in a position of power to do awful things, because I'm a piece of shit.
And you kind of get the, like, especially, I feel like this one's easier, you got your 2 movies, but, like, you do part 1, and then you do part 2 2 years later or whatever, but then the theater's going to show part 1 as, like, a precursor, like, you get the, like, people who are going to pay twice to go see it in theaters, or, myself, I went and saw when they did the World's End, the third movie in, like, the Cornetto trilogy. I went and saw all 3 of them in theaters.
Oh.
That was some psycho stuff. Kill Bill Volume 1 is a 2003 action crime thriller. It currently sits at an 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb, making it the number 151 top-rated movie on the top 250 on IMDb. It's also... it is not on the top movie list on Letterboxd. Directed and written by Quentin Tarantino. Also, Uma Thurman was in there to help create the character of the bride. And if you, like, watch the credits at the end, it's like Q and U, like, based on characters by Q and U. It stars Uma Thurman, David Carradine, which he's not really, like, shown in this movie at all. I don't think you ever see his face.
No.
Daryl Hannah, Michael Madsden, Lucy Liu, Vivica Fox, Julie Dreyfus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of, like, big star outside of, like, the main cat. Like, there's not a lot of, like, or I guess I should say it's not deep.
Yeah, and, granted, I haven't watched a lot of, like, Japanese films, so, like, maybe the cameos, or maybe they're, like, big cameos, or the actors when they're in, like, Okinawa and Tokyo. Like, I'm not well versed.
The only cameo / small actor I recognized was the one trucker who pays to sleep with
Oh yeah.
the bride. You might recognize him from a ton of Adam Sandler movies. Like, he's just the guy, one of those guys who's in like all of Adam Sandler's movies. I remember him most from The Waterboy. He's like the linebacker with the weird eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I saw him and I'm like, that guy looks super familiar. And then as I watched him, I'm like, wait a minute, that's the dude from Waterboy. And then it dawned on me that, oh wait, he's also in like every Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, I see on his like IMDb
I don't
pictures.
think-
There's like him and Little Nicky.
Yeah, I don't think he was in, he was not in Hubie though. No love.
Shame. Maybe he's on to bigger and better things now that he's working with Tarantino. You know.
I don't think so. His last movie was in 2020. It was The Wrong Missy, a David Spade-led comedy for Netflix.
No.
So
Not The
I don't
Wrong
think
Missy.
I don't think he's on to bigger and better things.
Had anyone not seen this film?
I had not.
I have not either.
You hadn't seen it? Okay. This was like one of my dad's favorite movies. We did this with Snatch, but my dad loved Kill Bill. I have watched both of them at some point, like fairly recently, from like college until now, and I wasn't in love with it. I think it's fine, but I'm interested to hear your guys' opinions on your first viewings. So, what did you guys think?
It's the most so far. I think it's the most like stylized film I've seen that he's ever done. Like, I think
agree.
you could make an argument for Inglourious Bastards, maybe in some points, but this movie just has so much stylized violence. Like, things happen in a really dramatic way, like when she stabs somebody or hits them or whatever. Like, they just do something happens that's insane. Like, that one woman cuts off that guy's head and it like spews blood for like 10 seconds straight, just like straight up, which is crazy. So that was kind of my first impression. I mean, I really liked it. Also, is it the only movie that uses animation intermixed? I don't know.
Like Tarantino's.
Yeah. I don't know if any of his other ones do that.
No, I mean I know he did. I don't think he's done an anime. I know he was writing something. Was he writing an anime or did he write like
I don't know.
I swear he did something different recently. I know he wrote like a book for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but because his thing is that he's only ever gonna make 10 films, so like he's kind of started to branch and do other things recently. And I swear he was gonna do something like that, but I think you're right. I think this is the only one where he's ever used like animation.
Yeah.
So my wife loves this movie, which was weird to me. Yeah, that's what I thought. And as I watched it, I'm like, huh, this seems like over the top. She's like, yeah, no, but like, it's like over the top intentional, like violence and gore. So like, it's kind of more like a fun, like over the top, non-realistic. And I was like, I mean, I guess it just didn't seem, she also didn't remember the entire giant anime section in the middle. I think when she thinks of the movie, she thinks of both parts combined. So I think in that she's like, I don't really remember that part of it. But this movie, I think more than any other Tarantino movie I've seen, wears its inspiration on its sleeve so much more. I mean, let alone just the Game of Death in general outfit homage right off the bat, but like the over the top blood from like, when you would see 60s 70s like over the top Chinese, Japanese kung fu style movies. Like, that was not that over the top, but was kind of something you would see more than you would see typically in American cinema.
Well, that's even the black and white part of the fight.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how they got around like censors for America with those movies, and then he did that as an homage, but at the same time, like the MPAA was like, hey, you need to tone down the violence a little bit. So, so then he like also
So,
used it purposely.
so then he animated it. And he's like, no, it's cartoons. It's fine. Yeah, I think this movie is like a love letter for sure to kung fu movies. And also, I mean, so obviously there have been a couple films that he's done that have been kind of homage to more of like the blaxploitation kind of movies of the 70s. I think this one was an homage more to like the women's version of that happened in that time. I mean, most of them were also blaxploitation pictures, but I definitely think that also came across through this movie. I very much enjoyed it. I was, like I said, kind of shocked. It's like, huh, I don't was not expecting the love for this, but yeah, I was like, they hit the part of being in Tokyo. The Green Hornet theme starts playing, and I'm already there. We go. I'm in. I'm sold, baby. I don't care what else happens. I've got guys in Kato masks, and I've got the Green Hornet theme. I'm good.
I like what you said, Ben. Like this is Tarantino's like biggest like wear my influences on my sleeve kind of movie, and that's one thing I appreciate about Tarantino is that like he's just a dude who loves movies. Like I'm pretty sure before he's gotten into directing, he literally just worked at like a video store. A lot of his movies rip off and like homage other films. Like this one is literally kind of directly from what is it, Lady Snowbird or something? I think is what it's called. Lady Snowblood, and there was another one that was like, I believe like something about Nazis. Let's see, where is it? I forget where it was, but basically like, it's funny that you said like Inglorious Bastards might be his other like most stylized because I think he wrote this film as the woman from Inglorious Bastards was supposed to be the main character and like have a lot of the characteristics of the bride. He like later switched that up. He like then separated the characters because they were kind of like intermingled at one point. He was like, all right, let's separate a little bit. If you're somebody who loves movies, you like to watch Tarantino and then be like, I can see where he's just a guy who fucking loves movies and he wants to make movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he has like his trademarks that he's kind of like gotten into now where it's like, oh, trunk shot, feet shot.
Say feet.
You know, his like dialogue stuff.
A cameo of him saying the N-word.
His you know, his long dialogue stuff, which I was reading like he was like, oh, I kind of had to like change how I think as a director because everything before I was like the dialogue heavy movies and then I got into this and it's all action and it was just not something I was used to doing and now I'm doing this and you know, it was fun. I read that it like went way over schedule and shit because he was like being a perfectionist and wanted it to be like crazy and over the top. And I forgot about the anime sequence as well, and it came to mind because I was watching another show or just looking at stuff, and so the studio that did the animation section of this, if you're into anime at all, they did Ghost in the Shell, the like original animated movie, and then they also did Psycho-Pass, which is like a more recent anime, and then I think they did Haikyuu or something, which is like a volleyball anime. But it was just it's kind of crazy to like be like, oh shit, those guys. All right, so here's my thing about Kill Bill. People will sit here, say they don't like House, say they don't like over the top, campy, cheesy, like just wild movies, and they'll be like, oh, I fucking love Kill Bill, and I'm like, this movie is fucking batshit insane. Half the stuff doesn't make sense and just like happens because like we lead into something just to get like a certain effect or like, you know, chopping off the girl's arm or like chopping off the dude's head just to like have a fountain or I think it was was it the anime sequence or was it like a real world one where like somebody gets sliced open and there's like a shit ton of blood and then there's like a body shaped blood pattern in the thing like where it was like missing the blood and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, was that in this?
I think it was the anime.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I was just like, what the fuck is happening in this movie? And then I was like, I was waiting to get on here to be like,
Uh,
these guys fucking hated House and like how over the top it was. And then they're gonna talk about here and be
okay.
like,
House is so different. House is
Okay,
so
wait a minute.
different.
I'm sorry. At what point in Kill Bill does a piano try to eat someone?
Yeah.
Tell me
Or
when that
painting.
happens.
Or when do they fight a painting? Or when in this movie does every character call one of the other characters fat? The whole movie.
they said the one guy looks like Charlie Brown.
That's
That's
just a
because of
character
the shirt
reference.
It was literally. Did you see the outfit he was wearing? He was wearing a Charlie Brown basically pattern. I noticed it as soon as he came on screen. I said, "Wow, that guy's wearing a shirt with the zigzag like Charlie Brown." And then he goes, "Oh, you look like Charlie Brown." And I went, "Oh, hey, I called it." I can't believe this motherfucker coming on this podcast and thinking that
Comparing this movie to House.
somehow
God.
House and Kill Bill are correlated in how outrageous they are.
I like the movie is definitely over the top for sure in the violence. And not just the violence, but like, the style of it is not realistic, obviously, but I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't feel like the same as House to me. I mean, I liked this movie and I didn't really like House that much, but House is also like really absurd, like and confusing. It's also confusing. Like the plot and everything is just like very confusing as to what is going on.
So I will say, I'm not a big gore person. I understand kind of like what my wife said, where she's like, it's kind of so over the top and almost like cartoony that it doesn't bother me as much. There was one thing that gets me, and it gets me every time I see it in movies. I hate it. I'm pleading with anyone who ever makes a movie, stop with the slicing the Achilles, all right? It makes me that's the thing. It gets me every time I see someone go to like put any sort of sharp object to someone's like Achilles tendon, and I'm out. I'm out. You lost me. I'm looking away. I'll be that guy who's just like, ugh, no. Is it John? Is it over? Shit's gross.
I don't like the head chopped at the end, like with the exposed brain.
Oh.
I don't like that.
Like the scalping?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was
Oh,
that
yeah.
one was
Not a big
also
fan of that scalping type stuff. That's not fun for me.
Also, this is my other, and I don't know. I briefly got into a couple minutes of Volume 2 and then kind of called it a night. So I do want to keep watching and finishing the movie, but I know Tarantino enjoys the non-linear storytelling aspect, but I feel like the knife fight with Vivica Fox at the beginning didn't need to be non-linear. Like, if you want to use the flashbacks, like, back to, like, what's going on when she's at the wedding, I understand it. Use that sense of flashback to take us places. But, like, to start there and then go all the way back and through was just like, what? I wonder if it was just a thing of, like, we tried it at the end and it just didn't fit really well as a good ending.
Well,
for Volume 1,
I think
compared, but
the battle, the bigger battle. I mean, you probably could have just moved who went first, but like I think that battle with the crazy 88s is a much better third act than.
Oh, for
100
sure. Yeah.
I am in no way disagreeing with you. I completely agree.
But
I
like,
just
why
think
she
it didn't
couldn't die
need to
first?
be. Yeah, it just it didn't add up to me, and I was like, this just seems like I get it, and I tend not to mind the non-linear storytelling, but that one just seemed like it was a last minute. Well, let's just throw this one here because there's nowhere really else that we like seeing it, and then it was like, oh shit, we probably should have just done this differently. Like I don't mind the flashing backs and everything like that, but to just, like I said, go through this knife fight, and then, because even what I got into from Volume 2 seems like it continues kind of like a progression outside of Vivica Fox's character. It seems like outside of that part, it just keeps going like in the right order.
I feel like it's just to get your attention and keep it. Because otherwise, if he goes in strict chronological, I guess you'd start. Well, the other thing is you don't really know what happened at the wedding entirely still, like after volume 1. So I think there's some mystery there. And then the other thing is it does open with it opens immediately with an action sequence rather than going through a bunch of backstory or a bunch of storytelling or a bunch of this and that or the other. So I think the main point it starts, which again, like maybe they may have thought about, how to frame it, but I think he was just going for immediate, like, edge of your seat. Like immediate, like, all right, we're starting this thing off. We're gonna start this off with a fight, the first 5 minutes. And then we'll get into all the other stuff.
I get, but why not just make her the first one on the list?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's true. Maybe.
But at the same time, like, what difference does it really make?
Yeah.
Like, when you sit down and think about it, you're like, does it really matter, like, if she was first or second?
Yeah. The only thing I think is, like, maybe... Because, like, she does that, and then she crosses her off her list, and you see she's actually second. And you're like, oh, wait, she's already done this? This is her second one? What happened to the first one? And so then it takes you through, like, her, in the hospital and stuff, but you're still, like, kind of have some anticipation of, like, oh, there's something coming, at some point in the future. I just don't know what. Like, I don't know how it's going to unfold or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a different, like, storytelling device to get you to care about seeing the rest of the movie.
Which, like I said, I understand and I appreciated most of the jumping around. It's just that one just felt like unnecessary to make that the like a non-linear jump. I don't know.
I completely forgot how much feet shit is in this movie. Like, I remembered she can't use her feet, or, like, her legs. So then she gets in the car and she's, like, wiggly her big toe. So we're, like, long shots of that. Then she gets out of the car. Yeah. She's walking. We see shots of that. That, like, girl punk band that's playing in the restaurant or whatever. They're all shoeless. There's the shot where... when the bride pulls up next to, what is that character's name? Sophie in the car. And there's like a shot of her feet and like flip-flops with the toes cut out and stuff. And I'm just like, bro. Like, I mean, at this point, everyone knows.
When the bride makes that cut on O-Ren and it just goes to like her feet as the blood starts coming down. Was like, all right, we're just gonna look at her feet. Cool.
Like, everyone at this point now knows, like, the obsession, and like when I see him in his movie, it just makes me kind of cringe.
It's definitely cringe.
I mean, like,
you're like, come on, man.
Was it have you guys seen From Dusk Till Dawn, or whatever it is? Okay.
Nope.
All right. No. There's another shot where it's I think it's Selma Hayek, right? And she's like, has this whole like dance number in this club, but then she like pours alcohol down her leg and like off her feet into somebody's mouth. And I think it's Quentin Tarantino's mouth because he's in that movie. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
Disgusting. Again, he just puts himself in these situations in these movies, and they're questionable. You're like, why did you put yourself in?
Everyone's just role? Like, why? That's weird, man. Why would you write that?
Why would you write that? Well, I wrote it for myself, of course.
God. Well, there's also... Yep, there it is. Hold on, I have the picture. I will post it in the chat.
In the trivia section on IMDb, director trademark Quentin Tarantino. Bare feet. Lucy Liu is barefoot as she runs to kill Boss Tanaka. The band at the House of Blue leaves is barefoot. The bride is barefoot as she escapes from the hospital. Uma Thurman's bare feet were introduced in Pulp Fiction before her face is shown.
It's just like, Come on, man. Everyone knows the thing.
I do have one trivia related to feet that I'd like to share with you guys.
What?
All right, so I was trying to look up stuff related to this because it's a funny topic, and somebody counted out how long feet are displayed on screen in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Is it more or less?
What do you guys think? Ballpark in seconds?
Oh, seconds, dude. You could get up. You could get
it's in seconds
in this movie. I'm sure of it.
It is minutes. It ultimately comes down to minutes, but like, I'll give you that hint. It is in minutes, but I don't know. I'm interested in seconds.
Okay. 119 seconds.
I was going to say 176.
It is 277 seconds of feet in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Granted, it is almost a 3-hour movie, but it's a long time.
That's a lot of feet.
It's so strange. Again, none of this tops him writing his own part where he gets to suck someone's toes on camera, but man, interesting.
I'm the only one who had seen this film, so you'll get a nostalgia rating from me. You're going to get 2 fresh ratings from Cam and Ben. The Goob Squad lives again. So, Cam, lead us off. What did you think of Kill Bill Volume 1?
So, yeah, feet stuff aside, I enjoyed the movie. I think, as you said earlier, it's not one of his dialogue-focused movies. It's purely an action movie with stylized, gratuitous violence, and I think it's fun. I'm interested to see Volume 2, and it's definitely a different movie than I've typically seen from Tarantino. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think I was in the same ballpark. This isn't what I expect from a Tarantino movie in terms of dialogue and film making, I guess, or film in general. This movie's just fun. It's just fun, gratuitous violence done as an homage to movies that I also enjoy. I enjoy those, especially, Bruce Lee movies in general. I loved watching, even the bad, big Boss Man and all of those. I've seen them. I love them. So this to me was just such a fun ride of watching just someone express their love for those movies. I think the cast is really good. I feel like it's a lot of kind of the same, Tarantino likes to use the same people that he knows he gets good performances out of, and rightfully so. I don't blame him. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I would put it at I would say maybe a 7. That being said, one of the funnest 7 movies I've watched. It's just a fun movie. It's not necessarily a great movie, but I enjoyed watching it.
Going in, I gave this a 6 out of 10. I remember watching it and not really enjoying it that much. That being said, I think this movie, like you said, it's fun. It's fast. It gets right to it. It doesn't necessarily muck around in backstory or anything. You get a little bit here and there of the bride and the wedding, and I think it's creative. It's just a love letter to, grindhouse exploitation, blaxploitation, samurai films. The pacing is awesome. It keeps you intrigued. What's the next? What are the next 2 guys going to be like? Yeah, I don't know. It's beautifully shot. It is all over the place, but I think it is a good film. It's definitely, I enjoyed it more this time than my first time. So coming out, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think, while not his best movie, I really like the kind of shift from Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs and Jackie Brown into just a full-on action movie, and I think he did a good job. And if you think we did a good job, Give us a like, rate, share us with your friends and family, subscribe wherever you're listening. Check out the show notes below, make a Kill Bill. Hit up the Casker links. Check us out next time. Check out our Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Check out our website, www.cocktailsandclassicspod.com. And as always, watch responsibly.